off, I want to thank everybody for coming out. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and see your students perform, especially during the middle of the day. We know everybody's got work and there's a lot going on. Trust me, there's a ton going on at school this last week. But we appreciate you all coming out. They worked really hard to get ready for this, so I know they're excited, we're excited, and it's going to be a great time. Some logistics, though, for when this ends, because there's going to be so much excitement and nobody's going to listen to me at the end. So I'm going to say it all now. At the end, don't come up and rush up to get your student, please. We are going to have the students go back to class. Parents, you are more than welcome to then go to the class. They're going to have like a little award ceremony individually in the classroom for the students. Some of them have refreshments and things like that. That's all going to take place at the class after this. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lauricella, and thank you all for being here.
I would like to just do my quick shout out thank yous to everybody. First of all, kindergarten parents, thank you for your support. If you went to my YouTube channel and heard the songs, I'm sorry if they are engraved in your skulls now, but hopefully you enjoyed them if you did. They're still available. Music with Mr. Lauricella is my YouTube channel, so you can always listen to all the other ones too if you want, and hear my dogs sing as they have. Thank you to our administrators, Ms. Jacober, especially where our first grade teachers raise your hand, or kindergarten teachers raise your hand. Thank you. Our specials team, raise your hand. Including my assistant director, Ms. Owen, down front. But especially our kindergartners who have worked really hard to bring you a really special presentation. And without further ado, we would like to present our musical of Stone Soup. There once was a small village nestled in the middle of some mountains. The people who lived there had more than enough food to keep them happy. They all lived a comfortable life. And one day, some travelers came along. Their coats were tattered and their hats were torn. Their shoes had holes in them, and they were very dusty from a long day's travel. They were hungry and tired, and the first traveler came into the village. She had nothing to eat for a very long time, and the first traveler was very hungry.
I'm so very hungry.
The second traveler came along. He had nothing to drink all day, and he was very thirsty. The next traveler came along. She had been walking all day, and her feet were very tired.
Feet are so very tired.
And the last traveler came along. The last traveler was getting very sleepy and wanted a place to rest.
I'm so very sleepy.
And so the travelers decided they would go through the village and knock on the doors to see if anyone had anything they could spare for them. They knocked on the first door, and a townsperson came out and said, "Why are you knocking on our door today?"
Why are you knocking
The next townsperson came out and said, "Why, you bothering us? What do you want from us?"
Why are you bothering us? What do you want?
The traveler said, "We are hungry. Do you care?"
We are hungry. Do you care?
Unfortunately, they said no, and so the travelers decided to wander on and see if they had any luck at another home in the town. Well, the travelers went on through the village. The next traveler came to a door and said, "We are hungry. Do you care?"
We are hungry. Do you care?
The next traveler came to the door and said, "Do you have any food to spare?"
Do you have any food to spare?
Well, the next townsperson came to the door and said, "We have nothing for you."
We don't have nothing for you.
And another townsperson came forward and said, "Please leave us alone."
Please leave us alone.
Well, the travelers were not pleased. They walked a little farther down the road, and they had an idea. Everywhere they heard from the whole village, "I don't care.
I don't care.
I won't share.
I won't share.
We have nothing for you today."
We have nothing for you today.
Well, the next traveler thought and said, "Maybe there is no food in this village." And the next traveler said, "We should make them our magical soup."
We should make them our magical soup.
Well, the travelers climbed up to the edge of a well, and they thought that perhaps the townspeople might like something special to taste. One of the townspeople came forward and said, "What are these travelers doing?"
What are these travelers doing?
The next townsperson said, "We have nothing to share."
We have nothing to share.
The next townsperson came forward and said, "Look, something is happening."
Look, something is happening.
And the last townsperson said, "I think they are making something special."
I think they're making something special.
Well, the travelers climbed up to the top of a well and shouted, "We are master cooks!"
We are master cooks.
And the next traveler said, "We need a black pot."
We need a black pot.
And the next traveler said, "We will make a delicious soup."
We will make a delicious soup.
And the last traveler said, "It will also be nutritious."
It will also be nutritious.
And so they prepared for their magical soup. Well, the townspeople were very curious about what was going on in the village. One of the townspeople came forward and said, "I really love to eat."
I really love to eat.
The next townsperson came forward and said, "I have a pot for you."
I have a pot for you.
The next townsperson said, "I wonder what these cooks will make."
I wonder what the cooks will make.
And the last townsperson said, "I can't wait to try it."
I can't wait to try it.
Well, the travelers filled their pot with cold water, and they built a roaring fire. And soon the flames were rising on all sides, and steam rose into the air. Curious people began to gather, and all the townspeople said, "What is happening?"
What is happening?
What could they be making?
What could they be making?
Well, the first traveler said, "We are making an unusual soup."
We are making unusual soup.
Well, lots of travelers wanted to tell us that one. And the next traveler said, "We need a special ingredient."
We need a special ingredient.
The next traveler said, "This soup will be magical."
This soup will be magical.
The next traveler said, "I think we will find it in this town."
I think we will find it in this town.
And the next traveler said, "I hope they like our special soup."
I hope they like our special soup.
And the last traveler said, "It will be made from a stone."
It will be made from a stone.
The travelers reached into their pockets and held something up high into the air. And on the count of three, they threw it into the pot. 1, 2, 3, splash! The stone went into the pot of boiling water. And they wondered, perhaps if we had some vegetables, this soup would taste better.
Everything
Well, the travelers wondered if the townspeople would be willing to help out. The next traveler said, "Please bring what you've got and put it in the pot."
Please bring what you got and put it in the pot.
Well, the next traveler said, "If only we had a carrot, our soup would taste better."
Only if we have a carrot, the soup will taste better.
Well, the townsperson came forward and said, "I have a carrot to spare."
I have a carrot to spare.
And she added it to the pot. And sure enough, it started to taste a little better. Well, then the townspeople had an idea. The next townsperson said, "I have a tomato to spare."
I have a tomato to spare.
And she brought the tomatoes to the soup and added it. Well, the next townsperson raised her hand and said, "I have some peppers to spare."
I have some peppers to spare.
The next townsperson said, "I have a mushroom to spare."
I have a mushroom to spare.
And she ran home and grabbed her mushroom and added it to the pot. Well, the next townsperson said, "I have a sack of potatoes."
I have a sack of potatoes.
She ran home and grabbed her sack of potatoes and added them to the pot. Well, the travelers were surprised and happy with all the ingredients. Everyone in town ran home to bring something to add to the pot. Food was flying through the air, and the travelers were very happy that the townspeople decided to share. One of the townspeople came forward and said, "This soup was most delicious."
This soup was most delicious.
And the next townsperson said, "All because we decided to share."
All of these guys decided to share.
Well, everyone loved this most delicious soup. The smell was so tempting that people brought out bowls, spoons, chairs, and tables. They placed loaves of bread, chunks of cheese, and bowls of fruit on the tablecloths. Well, all of the townspeople said, "This soup tastes amazing!" These travelers made a soup out of a stone and one special ingredient. called sharing. As the travelers left the town, they wanted everyone to know that if they wanted to make this soup again, they had to remember this simple recipe. Bring what you got. And put it in the pot. Every bit counts. From the largest to the least. And together we can celebrate a stone soup feast.
Parents, Mr. L and the kids have worked really, really hard for this performance. Can we please give Mr. L a round of applause? He is amazing. He's amazing. And we're so glad that he's here, and we're so blessed and fortunate to have him. Thank you, Mr. L.
So remember, please, we're going to get ready to send the students back to class in just a minute. We ask that you give them just a second to get out the door. Then you will all be welcome to go down to the classrooms with them. Please remember to bring a chair with you, fold it up, take it with you, so that you have a place to sit. They're going to do their award ceremonies in the class, and then they'll have some refreshments for most of them. And again, if you decide that you want to take your student with you, make sure that you sign them out. The teachers already have the sign-out sheets. Before we go, though, one more big round of applause for our kindergartners.